hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Lions Den podcast. Here to talk about everything Club Leon in English. Not a happy week to talk about Club Leon, but as the Fiel fans that we are, we're here to break down everything that happened. Very sad Sunday. With my hope of Leon winning and the Cowboys winning, and I took two L's that Sunday. So first one wasn't happy, and I was like, you know what? If Leon has sacrificed for my Cowboys, but no, that did not end up being the situation. So we're here to talk about everything that happened in that Pumas match, everything, current team, what takeaways do we take from that moving forward into the season, and our next match against Toluca, otra vez de visitante, versus our ex-domador and ex-players, Leon 2.0, which is Toluca. So if you guys are following us via YouTube and Periscope on Twitter, let us know what your thoughts are. Feel free to jump into the comments. We'll definitely share them on screen and keep the conversation going. Louis, you did not have a choice after seeing that golisa to walk away. But just in a couple words, so that we can jump in with a lineup. What was your takeaway? What was your takeaway?
I had a choice. I could have changed up my itinerary completely. I could have just said, you know what, nuts to this. I can't take this. I'm going to go do something completely different than what I had planned. For those who don't know, I'm staying in the Mexico City metro area for this entire week, considering we had the match at Pumas and our next one is at Toluca, and I'm still on vacation, so I don't really have any reason to be back home. And I figured I would take advantage of that time and be here. But I could have said nuts to that. This was just too painful. I can't take it. I'm going to go back to Guanajuato and change my plan out completely. Who knows if I'll even go to the game in Toluca. But obviously, that's not what I'm going to do. And that's not what I did. And you know what, Gotti? I was really mad about it at first. I was really upset about it. Downtrodden, crestfallen, whatever word I was really upset about that performance at first. But I'm at peace with it now. Looking at some of the other results, we beat Necaxa. Necaxa turned around and beat Cruz Azul at home. Cruz Azul's not going to be they're going to be better as the season goes along. Weird things are going to happen in these first few jornadas. We just kind of have to accept that and move on from it. And it stings in the moment. It's disgusting in the moment. It's embarrassing in the moment. As I mentioned in the chat, this was the largest margin of defeat to Pumas in short tournaments. So that's saying something. Short tournaments have been around for a while now. So the largest margin of defeat to Pumas in short tournaments, that's embarrassing. I had thoughts about it at the time, like, come on, what are you doing, Larcamón? Not even Paiva lost this bad to a team like Pumas. He lost this bad to Monterrey, but that's Monterrey. This is Pumas. We can't lose like this to Pumas. But you know what? I walked all the way from Ciudad Universitaria to the Centro of Cuyoacán, which if you're not familiar with Ciudad de Mexico, it's not that far, but it ain't close. But I just needed to clear my head. I wasn't going to wait for an Uber. I wasn't going to find some sort of public transit. I did drive to Mexico City, but I did not drive to the match. It's not usually the best option here. And I'm just going to walk and get this out of my system and clear my head. And that's what I did. And you know what? By the end of the night, I felt better about it. Now, today, I got tickets went on sale for the match in Toluca to the general public. I got mine, and now I'm full on in Toluca mode. If we have a good performance in Toluca on Sunday, doesn't matter what happened against Pumas. Strange things are going to happen in these first few jornadas. I hate, saying trust the process. We got to give it time because really, no matter what, it should have been better than it was. But I'm at peace with it. There's nothing we can do about it now, and just got to keep chugging along because, as we know, it's a long season, and you just got to be in the fight at the end. It's not how you do in jornada. I guess this is technically jornada tres, but for us, it was basically our jornada dos. It doesn't matter what you do now. It matters how you do at the end. So that's my thoughts on it. It was one of the worst regular season Leon matches I ever attended. I felt that it was one of the worst regular season Leon matches I ever attended at the time. But now it's over. Move on. Next up.
That was painful to watch.
Yeah.
That was painful. I mean, just seeing it on TV, like Gotti said, she left before the game even ended. I felt that way too. I didn't even want to keep watching after that third goal. Just the way our defense crumbled in that goal. Cafecito got megged twice. How does that even happen? Everyone's asleep. La línea de cinco is not functioning right now. It's just it's causing me to see these red flags that I don't know if the rest of our fan base is seeing right now. Because there's something wrong with this team, and I don't know what it is. Like we were all trying to blame this on Montes, saying, well, if he leaves, maybe he's the bad apple. He's the one controlling the locker room. Maybe if he leaves, things will change. But it seems like things are persisting, right? The attitude, the no sense of urgency, not leaving it all out there. It just seems like they're kind of cascareando at times. You know what I mean? And it happened with the last two coaches. It's happening with this one. And I don't know what it's going to take to change, but I personally feel like there's so many red flags that need to be addressed and that need to change quickly. Otherwise, this is going to be another one of those seasons, guys.
Yeah. Well, look, I think what's that old adage? You know, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. I mean, I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now. Like, I understand that to start out, Larcamón might want to use guys who are used to playing with each other so that the transition is a little bit smoother, but he has to realize how poorly this was working towards the end. Like this lineup that he is forcing out there, I get the idea behind it, I suppose, but I think he just has to have the guts to change it up for the sake of changing it up. That's not what we usually want to say, but like this lineup that he's trotting out there, maybe they really are the ones that are looking best in training. But I think even if that's the case, you have to have the guts to change it up, because this same lineup just isn't working. You brought in refuerzos de lujo, at least a couple of them are refuerzos de lujo. Like I would say Perro Romero and Canelo Angulo are refuerzos de lujo. You got to give those guys real minutes. You gotta put those guys out there and see what they do with real game minutes. You can't just, I mean, is it por jerarquías? Is it because the directiva is telling him, no, yeah, we brought you these guys, but you got to stick with the status quo, at least for a while. I don't know what this is coming from, but like, have the guts to change it up. Because, I mean, until we start, we brought these guys in so we wouldn't have to see the same lineup again. And we have the same lineup still. It makes no sense. I mean, maybe he wants to change it up gradually, but I think he needs to take a little more drastic approach.
I agree with
it.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I think this Sunday we're going to see some kind of shuffling. Not everyone, but I think a couple positions might be shuffled. But that said, more than half of these players in the starting lineup are the same players that won the championship back in 2020. How do they not know how to play together? How are they like not in sync? How do they not have chemistry yet? Even with the new coach, like it doesn't make sense. So there's a different problem there. These guys know each other. It's not like they all came from different teams and are playing for the first time. They've been playing together for years, and they somehow can't get it together. It's a 4-1 defeat against Pumas. Pumas lost by 4 goals against Santos the prior.
I saw that game, and I mean, I was like, how did I saw how they play, and I was like, oh, it's going to be a pretty easy game, and I still don't understand how that crumbled. With that, let's go ahead and do the lineup that Carlos had provided pregame. I mean, you look at it; it's los mismos de siempre, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are they all being used? Are they all being used in the correct way? That's another conversation too. But I agree with you. Like, I didn't think this Pumas team had anything really. No traía nada. To their credit, they were coming off a loss. We were coming off a win. We played like a team that was coming off a win and expected to win again. And they were coming off a team that got beaten badly and wanted to prove that they had more to give. So credit to them. That's still no excuse for our performance, though. It's no excuse for how we came in and played against them. They did their job and we didn't do ours.
Yeah. You were saying, Louis, you brought up that some of these players are out of position.
Well,
or you could play them.
Maybe Ambriz.
Yeah, Ambriz is. I don't. They're trying to force him to be a center back. I mean, kind of a free, like a libero, really, but like lining up as a center back. And I just don't. Sometimes he does really well in that spot, and other times he looks lost.
Yeah,
he looked kind of lost in that position on Sunday. And Jefecito, I don't know if the guy.
Jefecito really let me down because I think we've been pretty hard critics on him because we know what he was. We know what he went through during his recovery injury phase. We know he wasn't the same. And I think he's had moments last season where it's been meh. Like some games, yes, and then goes back to like, okay, la va pasando,
He's too
más o menos.
inconsistent.
Yeah, and then you get this game, and it's like he's not like a rookie. Like, come on, like he's been out there for us for so long that you literally question, like, okay, I'm sure with this after Pumas, he needs to be benched. No,
He needs to be benched forever. We give him way too many chances, and he's just not. He'll have one decent game, like his game against. We were talking about his game against Necaxa was decent, and then he'll just have another dud, and it's been too long. And the same goes for Osby. I'm sorry,
yeah,
like
no, yeah,
those guys just. We have options, you know.
that's the
I
thing.
keep saying I'm a broken record. I've been saying this. We're the best we've ever been when Tecillo has played left back. So put Tecillo at left back, play Belon, swallow your pride, bench Osby, move Tecillo over one, put in Belon. I just still don't know if it's Bellon or Belon, but in the stadium
It's
they call him they call him Belon, so I'll go with that.
Yeah, he can't say Belon.
Okay, Belon. Just play Belon. Play Belon and move Tecillo over. It's really not that hard. Maybe Osby looks like a world beater in training, and that's why he keeps getting the nod. And I don't know, but in the games he just can't do it, and neither can Jefecito. Like swallow your pride, take those guys out, put in Perro Romero and Belon. Just do it, you know.
Seriously.
And then
Arturo. Go on.
you can give those guys minutes against Tauro if you want, but like in league matches. They cannot be starters anymore. They've had way too many chances. Who gets this many chances? I mean, unless you want to try Osby as a winger, I don't know. He just can't.
No.
He just can't. He can't do it as a wing back or a lateral. He just can't do it. And neither can. Yeah.
Shout out to Arturo joining us once again, talking about Club Leon. Says, "Saludos, what a horrible game. We need to bench Barreiro." Trust me, especially me and Louis, have been saying this the whole time.
Well, the only reason I didn't say that was because his natural replacement is still out injured. Yeah. In Adonis Frias. So either way, we're stuck with Barreiro for a few more matches probably.
I think, but we still have Pedrito Hernandez.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a ton of faith in him.
Yeah, but I mean, we haven't seen him. The few times he did play, he came through.
Yeah.
Might as well throw him.
It's worth it. It might be worth a try at this point.
The difference here is like a Juvenil is going to leave it all out there because they're trying to get a position, a permanent position on the first team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jose Ivan, Osby, Tecillo looks like he's injured now. Stop using the Linea Cinco so much. That needs to change. Also, I think somebody told Ramon this ain't Puebla. This is not. I mean, I think we talked about last podcast. Like this is a totally different team. It's a totally different ball game. This is not Puebla. You literally got to cater to a tu antojo de tus jugadores. Like I mean, yes. It's like I'm conflicted. Like, okay, new coach coming in, he's gonna play it safe, go with the normal base, the Leon of the same base of players. But then you see what happened. Like Carlos said, like it's like these players have been playing with each other for like ever, and this is the base that we have, and they couldn't handle Pumas.
Yeah, it's
sad.
It's concerning. It's concerning to me because it just sometimes they're out there and it just seems like it seems like they're not trying more than anything. Like they're getting outplayed.
Yeah.
That's the part that makes me angry is like they get outplayed by a lesser team. Like you look at the starting lineup and on paper this is a really good starting lineup. Yes, we have our weaknesses. Yes, maybe Osby I don't know, he might be the Osby Barreiro might be the weakest links in that starting lineup. But name one player that actually showed up on Sunday.
Ivan Moreno. He's the only one.
There you go.
Except for that one goal. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's playing like he wants to nail down. Even when Byron comes back, Byron looks like he might not be out as long as we thought he would be.
Yeah.
So Ivan Moreno clearly wants to nail down that spot, even when Byron comes back.
Oh yeah, and he's played under Larcamón before, so he knows what Larcamón expects out of him. He knows what he wants out of him. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
It's
I know
a little
Louis
concerning.
hates it, but according to SofaScore, Ozvi and Yaido were the best players, which I disagree with.
Well, that again just shows you how useless SofaScore is. Like,
well, look,
the simplest.
Ozvi won 8 out of 9 ground duels. That's very surprising because he's
And the
normally
one
gets
he didn't win.
If the one you didn't win, if the one you don't win results in a goal, then then those stats mean nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but it's because I mean, how many times? And I sound like a record, but how many times have I said about our defense? And I've never shared about our defense. We always have these problems. We've been struggling with the right back position. When now there is some hope that Ivan could be that legitimate replacement. Always be on the left. It's always a hit or miss.
Honestly, I would say, and I know this is kind of a hot take.
Is it a hot take?
Let's do it.
If it's a hot take, then we need to play the clip.
Let's do it. This is a hot take.
Let's do it. Watch your ears.
I would argue that our defense has actually looked a lot better this season than in previous seasons. We're not getting caught off guard like before. Think about it. Last season, every time the ball was stolen from us, there was like one guy back and like 4. It was like 4 against 1. Every single play, every single time we lost the ball. Now, at least we have 3 center backs who are kind of like guarding, our defense. But we're not solid defensively. We're not talking to each other. We're not moving correctly. But we're not getting caught off guard, and we're not giving up these dumb counterattacks like we did last season. That's my hot take.
It looked very promising against Necaxa. I'll give you that. I mean, they had no real chances in that game, and as they showed against Cruz Azul, they're a more dangerous attacking team than they looked against us, and will probably be so down the road. But this game, I don't know. Once we equalized and then gave up once we gave up the lead again right before half, I think the hearts just sunk and the effort just plummeted. And that can't happen. When you're still within a goal with a half to play, that cannot happen. It can't happen ever, but especially when there's so much match left to play.
And it can't happen in the way that it did. Like Osby's standing right next to who scored it? Diogo de Oliveira. He's standing right next to him. Loses him for like 1 second, and there's a cross and goal.
He wasn't even marking him. That's the thing. Like he was like over there, and then the whoever it was back here, and it's like he turns around. I was like, bro, like, aren't you supposed to be? No. I was just really frustrated. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm Louis now with these like deep breaths. Like it's just so like I just could not believe. Like, are you kidding me? Like.
Well, it was so hot out too. I had to sit there under the hot sun.
You didn't move with the pole in the shade?
No. There's the last very, very last 2 rows of the upper bowl, like as high as you can get in that crater of a stadium, there's a little bit of shade. But you can't really see anything from there. There's so many areas of that stadium you can't see anything. I had to sit in the one spot where you can actually kind of see the game pretty well.
Yeah. But
if you sit there, then the sun is just beating down on you the entire time. Luckily, despite the fact that the game in Toluca will also be played at 12 noon, their stadium is a lot better designed for football, and it's a lot shadier, and also it's not nearly as hot in Toluca as it is here.
So, what do you guys think? Is it time to hit the panic button after this game, or do we wait and see what happens at Toluca?
Yeah, no way to hit the panic button after the second match of the season, but they do have to respond. If they don't respond, then it will be time to hit the panic button. Now the thing is, I don't think effort and ganas will be an issue against Ambriz's Toluca. I mean, I can't imagine how so many of these guys who played for Ambris would have trouble finding the digging deep and finding the desire to show out in that game. If there's one game all season they want to show out, it would be that one. So I am expecting a better effort just on that alone.
I say I'd hit the panic after like Jornada 6. At least give them. We need to see something. Like we need to see some type of impact that this coach is going to give this team. Some type of influence, some type of different idea. I mean, he has the players to do it. He needs to start including the refuerzos in. Because I think if we're spending that much on how many ever refuerzos, total of 5, we need to see some of it in it instead of, some of these guys need to be benched. Mena missed the sitter, bench Osby, bench Barreiro. I literally don't understand why Belon's on the bench. And every single day game, I'm going to say, put Belon in, because if anything, he is one of the ones that gives it all. And he's very consistent in my eye.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't understand why he's on the bench either. So a couple more games before we start to hit the panic button.
Yeah, I mean, you still have the lineup picture on the screen, so I'm just staring intently at it, and I'm like, the answers are right there.
Okay, so who do you guys switch for the next lineup?
Just use a regular 4-3-3.
Okay.
Don't play with this. Don't play with this line of 5. Move the CO over 1. Take out Osfi. Put in Belon. Take out Jefecito. Put in Perro, and move Ambris up so that you have a double pivot with Ambris and Perro, and keep the rest the same. Even though you could get persnickety and be like, Mena, he looked good obviously against Necaxa. Did not look good against Pumas. Maybe you start Campbell instead of him. You could get picky and do that, but I'm not too concerned about the front part. I'm more concerned about the back.
Yeah.
And
so
it seems the answer is so obvious. I don't know.
You bench Osby. You move the
You bench Osby. Move the CEO. Mm-hmm.
You ¿cómo se llama? Metes a
Belon.
Belon con Barreiro. Is that what we're saying?
Belon Barre?
Belon con Barreiro because Adonis is not ready.
Belon con Barreiro. You keep Ivan Moreno. You move up.
Yeah.
Ambris y metes al Perro, and then you have Jairo, Mena, Diorio, and Davila. And like Louis said, Mena's first game, I liked it. I was like, okay, he's still bringing it. Last game, I was pretty disappointed. But other than that, I mean, I don't see anything. It's just like Louis said, it's always the back that are having issues. It's always the back part.
Yeah, have Jairo as a straight up left back. I think at this point that's his best position. There was a time when he worked well under Ambris as a left back, but I mean, sorry, a left winger. Have him as a straight up left winger. I think that's his best position. They haven't tried to do too much, and I think he was a little overwhelmed with his responsibilities against Pumas. Yeah, it's a 4-3-3, or it's the back line of 4 from right to left: Moreno, Barreiro, Belon, Tecillo. Stick with that. Move Ambris up to contención. I think that's his natural position.
Yeah.
Have a double pivot with him and Perro. They can decide which of them is going to have more defensive and recuperador responsibilities. I would assume that would be Perro. And Ambris can drop back and be another defender if he has to be. He can still be a libero, but up higher, more like a contención and less like a CB. Just have that line of 4. Take out Oscar and Jefecito. They are just dead weight out there at this point. They're it's like playing with 9.
So I don't know if you guys watched Three Bueneros this week.
I did.
I did not.
Something very, very interesting. They brought up Nicolas Larcamón and his Instagram post right after the game. And it was very interesting because they really kind of delved into it.
Mm-hmm.
About like hidden messages or like indirectas or but anyways, if you guys look at the post, there's a sentence in there where he says la clave es y será siempre el trabajo, la entrega y la humildad, and he capitalized humildad, right? So they talked about like, okay, a lot of these players kind of play like they're cascareando, agrandados, like, okay, we can beat these guys, we're we're more skilled than our opponent. Like we're just gonna play around with them, but without scoring goals. So sometimes the players feel like they're better. They're menospreciando the opponent. And so he posted this. They talked about it on Tribuneros, and I was like, wow, that's a good point. Like this is a good message to send to the players. Like, don't think you've already won something. You know, like this is, you got to be humble. You got to approach every game like you haven't won anything. What do you guys think?
Well, and beyond that, not just that you don't think you've already won a game that you're playing. Don't think that your position is guaranteed. Your spot in the lineup. Don't think that your spot in the lineup is guaranteed. That's going back to, look, maybe these refuerzos, in your opinion, the opinion of the coaching staff, isn't showing out as much in training, but you have to put them in there, if nothing else, to put the pressure on these guys who are out there cascareando, thinking that no matter what they do, their spot in the lineup is assured. That cannot be. That simply cannot be. The team will get nowhere if we have guys in the lineup who think that their spot is secure no matter how they play.
Yeah, but that's
you have guys thinking. You have guys thinking that their spot is secure no matter how they play, and not all of them, obviously. But
I mean, it's a lot of them. I mean,
yeah.
Mena, Cota for sure, Tecillo, Barre, Jefecito. Like these are players that were there in the 2020 championship that already won something, and they're like, we don't need to prove anything. We already won something. You guys proved something.
Yeah. So we're looking at it that way. I mean, the only ones who really are putting out a full effort are Ivan Moreno and maybe Diorio. You know, actually, I mean, I would say Cota is too. You know, yes, he knows his spot is secure, but I don't think it's affecting his play. I don't think it's ever really affected his play.
The only guys who are standing out are the guys who weren't here, that didn't win a title with us.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. No, I definitely think I agree with Carlos. I think there are players that I think por el peso que tienen, they think they'll continue to start. Like that's why I was surprised with Mena even starting the first jornada, but I think he did well. This past one, I mean, I thought, okay, well, are you going to bench him next game? I don't know. It is frustrating. And I think, you know, if that's the message he wants to send, cool. But I think also he needs to put it in action, because if not, what are we expecting, especially moving later into the other competitions?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we can't have a waste of talent. We have the talent. They just need to put it together.
To be fair, Davila did not win a title with us either.
And who's been our leading goal scorer?
Yeah.
Who you know, I mean, over the last season, he was the standout player. Maybe him and Diorio.
Yeah.
There are matches. He does have matches where he doesn't look like he's giving his all as well. But just to put that out there, he was not part of that title winning squad. He joined a season later.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Arturo also said Jefecito needs to bounce, bro. He's not the same as 2019. Trust me,
Absolutely.
we've been saying this every single season of the podcast. It's like something we're always saying.
It's like, man, if something's not working at this level, how many chances do you get at this level if you're just not producing? Seems like these guys have Jefecito and Nosby, like them, been producing consistently ever.
And I think it's like they're from there, you know, they grew up there, not on the first team, but it's like, when are you gonna stop? When are you gonna, you know?
Is Jefecito canterano?
Jefecito was not a canterano.
Or is he from somewhere else? Morelia, maybe?
No. Jefes Jose.
Wait, he's from. No, yeah, he is from. He is Cantera de León.
He is, right?
Yeah, he is.
He's from Zamora, Michoacán, I want to say.
He's from Morelia.
Morelia.
He's from Morelia, but his first team ever, his youth career started with León.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, at this point, he's 26, you know, and at every job they always, you know how you have like your yearly review at every job. It's like, hey, you know, this is what we expect from you. This is your performance so far. We need your performance to like step up in order for you to get a little raise. Like that's not happening with Jefecito for some reason. Like during the off season, I'm pretty sure they have like end of the season meetings where they go over every player's review. And I'm pretty sure for Jefecito, like every new season, it's like, okay, you were good last season, but we need you to step it up a little more and a little more every year. And it seems like he's just plateaued. He's not.
But you know what the problem is with a lot of these players, and I'm not just targeting just on Club Leon players, but just like overall players in Mexico, is that, and I think I can't remember who, because it was during the World Cup where it was like all the técnicos talking. What is it? Los maestros or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It was Chepo. It was Chepo La Torre saying you have 24/7 players and you have like 2-hour players, right? Which is the players that are 24/7 are the players that take care of themselves. They invest in themselves, not only like on the field, but se cuidan. They want to get better. Like they want to see what they can improve. They prepare for the next match because every match is different. Who are you up against? There's those type of players, 24/7 players. And then there's players that are just, they show up to the game and then that's it. It's just they show up to the game and they play and whatever
They're just
it
there for a
goes.
paycheck, right?
Yeah. And I think some of these players need to, just like a lot of Mexican players, they need to invest in themselves. And the thing is that a lot of players in this league, because some of these teams have, paid these massive wages on these players. Doesn't matter if they're foreign or if they're just regular Mexican players. Their ego is just like so big that like they can't take criticism. You know what I mean? So like, I mean, I'm laughing at like, because they must have like these end of the season chats with the players and stuff like that. But I guess to what extent can they actually receive criticism, or they'll take it good or they'll take it bad? Like, if anything, they should take it in a good way. Like, man, like I need to step it up. Like you said, like I need to get better. Maybe there's just some players that don't care because they're still going to get paid the same. It's, they're already in, they get too comfortable and nothing else happens.
Well, I mean, the criticism, maybe they do give them harsh criticism, but that doesn't matter if they keep giving them opportunities and they don't produce.
Well,
like they keep giving them these opportunities and they don't produce, then the criticism is just going to fall on deaf ears. It's going to be like, they can say whatever they want about me, but they're not going to take me out of the lineup. That's what I'm saying. Like, they have to have the guts to make some changes, even if not, whatever, nothing, no excuses. They need to have the guts to make some changes. They brought in all these great options, and they're riding on the bench, getting mop-up minutes. Like Canelo Angulo's first minute should not have been like 5 minutes left to go in a goleada en contra. Yeah. Like that was that's not how you would have wanted it. Yeah. You didn't bring these guys in for mop-up duty. I'm sorry, you just didn't. No.
Mop-up duty. Yeah, we're gonna have to use that throughout the next podcast.
Garbage time, mop-up duty. These are basketball terms.
What did Carlos say? Yeah. Garbage minutes. He said garbage minutes.
Garbage minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to what else happened this past weekend. So starting with the Mazatlán versus Santos beating them 2-1. Xolos and Tigres 1-1 drawing. Monterrey versus San Luis 3-1. América and Puebla drawing 2-2. Necaxa beating Cruz Azul 1-0. Kind of surprised there. Toluca beating Chivas, Luis Happy 2-1. Pumas.
I did enjoy that. I watched. There were a few more matches available to watch without ViX Plus this time, so I watched. Yeah. I watched parts of América Puebla, and also I watched most of that Chivas Toluca game. Yes, I did enjoy that one.
Our 4-1 loss against Pumas. Querétaro and Atlas drawing 3-3, which I didn't expect much from that game, and I was even surprised Querétaro kept trying to make it out there and end up drawing. It was pretty funny.
Credit to them for pushing when the news came out. Well, I guess it's been news for a while to anyone paying attention to the cocientes, but they can't even, they will not be able to play in Liguilla even if they get enough points to do so. I don't know if you guys saw that.
No, yeah. I didn't see that.
Wow, that's news.
Because they pretty much they'd have to have almost a perfect season to get enough points to not be last place in the Porcentual. Mm-hmm. And they decided that being last place in the Porcentual, in addition to the fine, means that even if you finish in the top 12 in the season, then you cannot participate in postseason. So Querétaro, like, they still won't have their fans back until March, and that's going to affect, unfortunately, Leon's match there. That will be without fans, unfortunately. But they don't have any fans to play for, and they don't have any Liguilla to play for. But they came back and tied Atlas, so good for them.
Yeah, very surprising. And Pachuca beating Juarez 4-1. Not a surprise there. This next jornada cuatro tonight in less than 15 minutes. Atlas versus Santos at 9. Tomorrow we have Puebla versus Monterrey, as well as Xolos versus Pumas. 2 Friday night games. Saturday we have Tigres versus San Luis, Juarez versus Chivas, América versus Mazatlan, our Sunday game versus Toluca, and also Pachuca Necaxa ending Sunday game. Yeah, that's what's next up ahead. So Toluca won against Chivas and we lost. So interesting. Heading into Sunday match, guys, what are our expectations? Obviously, we know we're going against our ex-domador and a couple of Leon players like Meneses, who I deeply miss. But what are we thinking? Are we going in confident after this loss, or are we hoping for a draw?
Confident, absolutely. Well, confident that we're going to get a result? Absolutely not. Confident that we're going to see a better effort? At least I am. I don't know about you guys. But there's just too much history. There's too much intertwining of these two squads. Too many guys on our squad who played for Ambris. And the 2 times that they've played each other with Ambris at the helm of Toluca, the matches have been extremely hard fought, back and forth. Very good games, and I expect another one. I expect another one of those.
Yeah, it would be deeply, deeply concerning if we don't get a good result. Not even a good result. I mean, just effort. If we don't see effort from these guys, if we see the same effort that we saw against Pumas, it's going to be very, very concerning. And maybe you can start tossing up red flags. Maybe you can start reaching for the panic button. But I mean, Toluca's they're not a bad team. They're a really good team. They're second place last season. So it's gonna be pretty difficult. We're also playing on their home field, which is kind of a tough venue to play in. They have a very loud crowd. They really get into the game. And their football is really good. It's amazing. But it's just gonna be concerning if we don't show up. To me, it's gonna be very concerning. Yeah,
I agree.
There's
no reason it shouldn't be a good matchup for sure. And then I'm just looking at the calendar ahead. So after Toluca, we host Pachuca. Then we're away at Querétaro. Then we're at home versus Puebla. Away at Juarez. I mean, at least the next couple of matches, I think. First Pachuca it'll be interesting. I think it'll be a tough one for sure.
Yeah, but after that, we have like a little. Okay.
You have Querétaro and Puebla and Juarez, but we have to be able to win those. And that's the thing with Leon. We think like, oh, it's going to be fine. And then we get into trouble or we look like, deer in headlights with these teams. And
but as I said after our opening match against Necaxa, for the first time in a long time, they had taken care of business against a lesser opponent at home. And so at least in terms of those kind of matchups, like that Puebla matchup, that'll be an emotional one, obviously. It'd be more emotional if it was being played in Puebla, but it'll still be emotional because this is Larcamon's former squad. I know they're going to give their all to try to beat him on our pitch, but I mean, I think these kind of matches. And Juarez, I am planning to travel to Juarez for that match. They're just forgive me, but they're a dumpster fire. So but they can be tricky at home too. So I mean, they would take nothing for granted out of any of these matchups. But yes, after that Pachuca match, we get a little bit of a clear saying. I really wish I could go to that Querétaro match. I have no fear about La Corregidora. I wish that match were being open to fans. I mean, we have the fan ID now. You might as well open it. I don't know, but Yeah. No, I do expect I expect a hard fought match. I expect a good effort at the very least against Toluca. I'm not going to guarantee a win, although I probably will predict one in a minute here. But I'm not guaranteeing one by any stretch of the imagination. And yes, you're right, Carlos. It is a tough place to play. Always has been. But if si mal no estoy, we haven't lost at that stadium since 2017.
I can't remember that far back.
Louis just has this like encyclopedia memory
Well,
game.
I mean, I remember matches there more vividly because I believe that's one of the stadiums I've been to the least. I've only been there maybe like 3 or 4 times. And yeah, I believe we haven't lost there since 2017. Apertura 2017, one of the first matches of the season, we lost 3-1, and the one was a meaningless penalty that we got at the end, we'll say. And then yeah, it seems like we haven't played there that much in the last few years, honestly. It's only been like 3. We've only played there 3, maybe 4 times. I remember with well, yeah, the last 2 seasons were the matches against Toluca were at home. We also played against Toluca in a repechaje, but that was also in León.
Yeah.
And before that, the last match of the season, the regular season before we won the title, where Montes scored that great free kick that we were talking about the other day, that Javier was saying was probably his favorite Montes goal. Yeah, that was a 2-2 draw. And before that, yeah, it's I mean, I remember I have seen us win there once back in 2018. I think it was before Ambriz took over. It was the season that Ambriz took over, I want to say. But it was early on in the season. We got a 2-1 win, a great header by Pedro Aquino, and then another Boselli capitalizing on an error. We got a 2-1 win. Yeah. But yeah, it's a tough place to play, but to our credit, we haven't lost there. The times we've lost to Toluca have been in León.
Wow. Talking about lineup, Arturo had said I throw in versus Toluca, Cota, Moreno, Ambriz, Pelon, Villa, Perro, Canelo, Uribe, Davila, Jairo, and Diorio. A good mix of veterans and youngsters.
I like that.
I mean, I don't know where all those guys play though in that lineup.
I'd probably throw in there. Oh, he said Moreno, Ivan Moreno. I was thinking about Jairo.
Yeah.
I like this lineup. Villa is gonna take Ozri's spot. I mean, at this point, right?
Yes.
He's assuming that the CEO is not available, I think. But do we know that for sure?
There hasn't been anything. You know how they don't really say anything.
Yeah, I heard he sat out. I heard he sat out. I think like yesterday or the day before his practice. He didn't practice. Nursing an injury.
Yeah, my guess is he'll be available. I mean, Barreiro was taken off on the Carrito de las Desgracias against Necaxa, and then he started against Pumas. So, you never know with these things.
Yeah. Definitely. Shall we move into prediction time then?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Prediction time!
Louis, go ahead and give us your prediction versus Toluca. Safe trip, and hopefully it'll be a good time.
Yeah. Well, I think they're gonna come out. They're gonna come out guns blazing. I mean, I have to hope that they're gonna do that because that they did the exact opposite in Pumas against Pumas, and it ended in tragedy. And I think it might take more than just one loss like that to be a wake-up call, but I have to think it's going to be a wake-up call, and I have to think just the narrativa, just the extracurriculars, just playing against Ambriz. So many guys still on this team that were his pupils. So I think it's going to be a hard-fought match. I think we're going to find a way to win 2-1.
2-1.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos, the legend.
Let's go. I was like, wait, what?
I know it took you a couple of seconds, but
High scoring game. I think both teams, obviously, we're desperate for a win, but I think Toluca has a very, very strong offense. They have very good game, very good coach that should never left Leon, in my opinion. High scoring game at their home. I'm gonna go 3-2 Leon at the end of the game.
that we win
3-2
3-2.
Leon high scoring, yeah.
I would love to see something like that, Carlos.
I mean, that would be awesome.
I would,
that would be awesome.
Let's do it. I hope so.
Yeah.
It probably won't end up like that though, but
hey, se vale soñar.
if it does, I mean, that would be a heck of a game.
That would be a really good game, especially this early on in the season. Arturo on the comments said, I think we'll tie 1-1 this Sunday. Gol Davila. I am going with the 2-2 draw, to be honest. I think it's going to be a really good matchup. Toluca has a really good team, especially La Media and Meneses. I miss him. Come back. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't. If we win, amazing. We win away at Toluca versus Sabris, awesome. But I would be okay with drawing 2-2 and come back home after that. I'd be okay if I saw some type of change and I saw some type of glimpse of moving forward with a more una idea de jugar del Arcamón impacted in the game.
I mean, if we lose by like 1 goal, but there's a difference in our attitude, there's a difference in our intensity, I'll be okay with it. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Yeah, okay, two game losing streak doesn't matter, but as long as we don't look like
what we did versus Pumas.
Yeah.
If it's like 4-1, I'm gonna be like, but if it's 4-1 and we're in like, if it's 4-1 and we're really unlucky, then I'll paso. But if it's a 4-1, like exactly like Pumas situation where we crumble and then just embarrass ourselves, then I'm gonna have the button a bit closer to me and be like, this is unacceptable.
Yep.
But yeah, so those are our predictions. We'll see who's right. Did anybody get it? No, we all lost last weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately.
No one guessed it right. But we'll see what happens this upcoming weekend. So I think we're gonna take off as the Liga MX game is about to start. If you guys are gonna watch Atlas versus Santos, the Olerji Clásico coming up. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching us via YouTube and Periscope. Thanks to Arturo for jumping in the comments and tuning in with us. If you guys aren't able to watch the game versus Toluca on Sunday, please follow Club Leon EN on Twitter to keep you updated with the live updates during the game. If you missed what's going on, just go ahead and follow the account to keep you updated with everything you need to know throughout the match and beyond. Louis, safe trip.
It's a short one this time because I'm already in Mexico City.
Still,
so it won't be that.
Trip to the stadium.
No, I do have to get back to Guanajuato after that match is over. So there is that.
Safe trips, plural.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Arturo Ruiz, man, for always showing up. And if you got friends, homies that want to watch, they're also Leon fans, make sure to give them the link. Make sure to have them tune in, bro, because we got to grow this community.
Definitely. And feel free.
Absolutely.
This is a safe place to talk about anything Leon, whether you
Yep.
think the opposite. I mean, we get into it with each other a bit because we sometimes disagree. So but yeah, so we are gonna go ahead and take off. Thank you guys for joining us in another episode of the Lions Den podcast. Take care. Y arriba la fiera.